Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Zero Kurasagi here, back with another video. And today, I'm just gonna show you my character builds in Octopath Traveler 1. I kinda am just doing this for myself, so I have an easy access video to my character builds, so I don't have to boot up the game just to see what I did. Let's start off with the jobs. So I have Cyrus as a sorcerer for his sub. Primrose as a scholar, Therian as a cleric, and was Ulbrich as the apothecary. I'll start with these four, then I'll switch over to the other four and show you what I did with them. Let's go into their skills. So equip the skills. You can see pretty much what I have equipped. Cyrus is spec to be our attacker, so of course we have to exceed the damage cap. We got this elemental aid. It doubles how much SP it costs, but it does 50% more damage, so yeah. This always gives him the buff, so we don't have to buff his elemental attack damage, and it increases damage dealt by 50% and reduces damage taken by 33% because of that's what the buffs do. BP Eater, so when he uses BP, it just makes the skill do even more damage, so he's just the damage dealer. Pretty much I recommend splitting up your teams to have 8 into groups of 4 and making sure that each team has at least one damage dealer and the others are just support. So Primrose, she's like the secondary damage dealer. She doesn't really need to surpass. She doesn't need the suppressing power, but for whenever he is not available to do damage or you need to do a little bit more damage, that's what we got her for, and her spells kind of coincide, help him with his spells. We have Patience, so there's a 25% chance of them to act again at the end of the turn. Boost starts, so you start 1 extra BP. We have the skills, so they don't have to be buffed. She's already buffed. And BP Eater, so she does more damage when he uses BP. Then we have Therian. He is, I think, cleric. So we have to have saving grace so that when they can heal over the maximum amount of HP. BP boost, of course, and save SP, so he doesn't consume as much SP for the heals. And patience, so there's a 25% chance of them to act again. I feel like this skill is really good for any support character that supports your team. Just have a 25% chance to just act again at the end of the turn is just a plus. Ulrich, he is our tank. So he also has saving grace so that if he needs to, because he has the ability to heal as an apothecary, he can heal over the maximum amount of HP, which obviously helps him with tanking because he can heal himself and heal over the limit on top of that. Start 1 extra BP. We have the physical and the elemental buffs, so he's fully buffed from physical attack, physical defense, elemental attack, and elemental defense. Obviously, he's not really using this for elemental attack. I'm just using it for elemental defense so that he can be more tanky. So he does not, again, you don't have to worry about keeping buffs up on these characters because they already have the buffs active. So he always has this active defensive buffs for physical and elemental defense. Now going into the actual equipment. I'm not going to go over why I chose everything for everybody, but you can kind of see what I chose for my group. Obviously, you want to focus on elemental attacks for him because he is the elemental attacker. Then for Primrose, I kind of wanted to make sure she had a good secondary staff that gave her a lot of elemental attack because she's not going to be, you know, surpassing the limit of damage. And a good dagger. It increases fire damage dealt too, so when she casts fire, this also stacks. So that's just good for her fire attacks. And then whatever secondary stuff that you can put on her for elemental attack. And I went for speed because I wanted her to be a more speed focused caster because she excels at that more. So I went for speed for her accessories. Therion, you have to give him a good dagger, of course. Since he is a healer, he just needs speed, right? And SP, right? So I made sure to max out his SP as high as you could possibly get it. So anything that gave him SP, I pretty much gave them, and elemental defense, because elemental defense scales with your healing magic or healing spells. So elemental defense is pretty much on everything he has, and then max SP as well. Then Ulrich, of course, like I said, I want him to be tank, so make sure you give him whatever the best weapons he can have at the time, and just I went for shield because it gives him a good flat 100 in a defense of both stats. This again 115 in both elemental stats, and also reduces damage taken from wind, so that's just a plus. The crystal vest 200 in both stats, and then again 80 and 100 in both stats. So this way he can defend against physical and special attacks. And I guess I can show a battle real quick just to show you these characters in action. Okay, on second thought, instead of showing you in-game combat, I'm just going to go over the skills that they have for the classes that they have and the idea for them. So obviously Cyrus is just speccing purely off of Sorcerer to do as much damage as possible. All these attacks are AoEs, but if you use his divine skill for 3 turns, the attack will only target 1, it will always crit, and the damage is increased by 25%. So you want to get this off as soon as you can. Now you also have this other skill from Scholar, which for 3 turns, spells cast by a single chosen ally will usually target all foes, will instead focus on one target to deal double damage. So what you want to do is have Primrose use this skill on Cyrus, so he doesn't have to use that skill. And he could just focus on just unleashing his attacks on the boss. If you're fighting a boss that you know the weakness to, like you know the elemental weakness to. And you want Cyrus to use Elemental Break on the enemy so that they'll take 50% more elemental damage for 2 turns. And you just nuke the shit out of them. So that's how these two synergize together. Again, you can have this on any character. Like you can have somebody else as the Scholar to buff your Sorcerer, whoever you decide to be a Sorcerer. I don't know why you wouldn't choose Cyrus, but you could choose pretty much whatever. Then we have Therion, which is our healer. And I feel like the Thief Healer combo is so good because you have Thief, which is constantly stealing SP and sharing SP with everybody. And so this is why I make sure I give him the most amount of SP he could possibly have, because the more damage he does, the more SP he has, the more he can give. And usually giving SP means that you're going to fully restore somebody's SP, and like your casters are very SP drainy, so having somebody to give SP is really good. And then on top of that, just being able to heal to keep the party topped off, keep their max HP at maximum is just great. Divine skills, the Thief skill, again, because we're not breaking the damage cap with him, is just going to do max damage. So it's not really necessary to typically use unless you're in like a real pinch. The skill for Cleric, where for 3 turns, skills performed by a single chosen ally will trigger twice. This, on the other hand, is really good. So you can give this again to Cyrus. So she is giving him this, which is making his skills target 1, which is increasing their power because it's targeting 1 instead of everybody. Wait, this this skill. I was looking at the wrong skill. Yeah, this skill. So it focuses and it deals double damage, and then you have Therion here using this skill, which is causing them to use their actions twice. This does not affect divine skill, so you can't use this on somebody who's going to use a divine skill and then use a divine skill twice. It only works on attacks, so obviously you want to give this to your damage dealer so they can spam their attacks and kill the enemy faster. And then Orbrick is just there to take the hits because these characters are not very physical defensive heavy. I have Orbrick here to taunt the enemy. Where's the skill? Yeah, insight. It calls the target to target you for 3 turns, so you're getting targeted. He has apothecary, so he can cure his own ailments. Also, the Donor Charity, where items that are used by a single ally will affect all. This skill by itself is just broken. You pretty much use this, and then any item you use in the game will just be placed on everybody. So you use, let's say, this item, and you just give your whole party 4 BP. Or you use this item, which you see I have 94 of, which fully restores HP, SP, and BP for a single target, but because of the Donor Divine skill, it will do that for everybody. And yeah, it's pretty broken. And that is pretty much how this squad works. So let me switch over to the other squad. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the other team. I got Hannett, Tressa, Ophelia, and Alphen. Let's go ahead and start with the jobs. Hannett, I have set for War Master. Tress, Ruin Lord. Ophelia, Starseer, and Alphen is a dancer. And let's go ahead and go to support skills. So Hannett, she's our damage dealer, or physical damage dealer. So of course you need suppressing power, BP Eater. Fortitude is for if you want to go with the 1 HP maximum damage build. So pretty much get the character to 1 HP by whatever means necessary. Usually you use this on Orbrick. You just go into, you like do one of those challenging battles that are really hard and lose the battle on purpose, like unequip his armor and lose the battle. And then he doesn't die, but once he loses the battle, you get out of the battle and he's at 1 HP. Then you equip this skill to him, and it's boosting his damage by 6% for every 1 HP below 33%. So it's 6 times 32 is like 190 something, 192. It's almost 200% more damage. It's enough to one-shot pretty much almost anything in the game. So that's just a strat if you guys want to use that. But that's what this is here. So when she is low on HP, she deals more damage. You could change this for something else. There's not really a lot more to increase her damage though. Of course, we have the Prowess, so she's always buffed. You don't have to worry about buffing her. Next, Tress. She is also rocking Surpassing Power so that she can do damage over the cap. BP Eater, Elemental Edge, and Elemental Aid. So she is our elemental side of the party. Because Hannett by herself can't focus on elemental weaknesses, so we have Teresa to help with that. So this is just all the damaging stuff you want for your elemental damage dealer. Then we have Ophelia. These, obviously the last 2 are just support. So Saving Grace, Boost Start, SP Saver, Patience. And instead of Patience for Alphen, I went for The Show Goes On, which makes it to where status augments you grant to allies will persist for 1 additional turn. Next, let's go into the skills. So obviously War Master, the idea is you have every weapon in the game at your arsenal. So you just want to find the enemy's weakness and beat the shit out of them. And then when you break them, go into your divine skill and do ridiculous damage. That's pretty much it. You usually don't use her hunter skills outside of like arrow rain to target multiple targets. Maybe take aim if you want to increase crit, but I really wouldn't worry about crit and accuracy too much. 'Cause using a turn to do that versus just doing damage is kind of silly. Therese, she's pretty much... Merchant is broken. I love the merchant class. Donate BP, sidestep, and even hired help sometimes helps with like fighting weaknesses. It's great. It's a great class. I would never use the divide skill. Do not use that shit. It's awful. Don't use it. But we're using her for the Ruin Lord. The idea is to use transfer ruin, so you can transfer whatever elemental ruin she wants to use to the whole party. So it'll give Hannah, let's say, fire. So whenever she does an attack with any of these weapons, it will also cast a fire attack after that. It's really good, really good. So this covers our elemental weaknesses. You know, obviously you have to find the enemy's weakness before doing this, which is what we got kind of the other characters to kind of help do. Also, her divide skill uses all the elements, so it allows you to find the enemy's weaknesses automatically, but it only works on a single target, so it really only helps with bosses. Next, Ophelia, she's a healer. Obviously, you got your usual healer stuff: heal more, revive, the divide skill that is broken, allow you to act twice. Obviously, you can use that on Hannah, so she can do her divide. Well, it won't work on divine skills. I think it works on Guardian Lion, which hits 3 times, guaranteed 3 up to 10. So then with the attacking twice, it could hit 20 times. For something like that is pretty much what that would be used for. But there are some better things to use it for. You could use it on Therese. So when she casts her skills that like give you elemental stats to everybody, it happens twice. Yeah, that's good too. Starseer, Starseer is kind of iffy for me. A lot of the skills are kind of weird. They're all kind of like single targets, so it feels like it needs to have the dancer on, and that's why I made Alphen the dancer, because of course he's the healer. You have 2 healers on this party, which is crazy. You really don't need it. But just, you have your double healer, so you have somebody that can heal status elements. Got 2 revives, and he can still attack with his axes. The dancer is literally there for the Bewildering Grace if you're grinding SP or XP or JP or whatever it's called. And then the divine skill. That's what it's here for. He's dancer just for the divine skill, so that skills that would normally target one ally target all allies or all foes instead. You can use this on Teresa, and donate BP will donate BP to everybody, or sidestep, and sidestep will literally give guaranteed dodges to your whole party. So if you have max VP, you can get 4 guaranteed physical dodges. Like if you know you're fighting a boss that only does physical attacks, and just your whole party just dodges everything. And then just try to get her more BP so she can keep stacking those dodges on your whole party and just be untouchable by physical attack bosses only. Or you can give it to Ophelia, which is usually what you end up doing, because the Star Seer feels kind of weak without it, and pretty much all her skills that only target herself will target everybody, like the one that allows her to counter physical attacks, or the BP boost, which gives your whole party BP boost. So instead of gaining 1 BP at the end of the turn, they'll gain 2. Or the one that just increases everybody's speed and evasiveness and damage reduction, which is just great. Just a great defensive skill to use. Also the one that grants immunity to debuffs. It's good, but it needs the dancer next to it to be as good as it is. But yeah, that's why they are what they are, and that's kind of how you play them. Let's go into equipment. Obviously, Hannah, give her all the best. I mean, it's not really necessary for me to say this every time. Whatever the best weapons you could possibly get, give them to your characters, obviously. For the shield, I went for this one because it gives her 8 SP every turn and 200 HP, so she's kind of self-healing every turn. And then I just focused on crit. I gave her as much crit as I possibly could give her because your even though it says, like, you see how my numbers turn blue when I hover over the weapons? I don't need to focus on attack because when the weapon is equipped, it changes your stats according to those weapons. So we're already hitting the cap on physical attack damage. So I don't need to put physical attack on this character. So instead, I go for crit to try to reach the cap on crit instead of the physical attack. I put the belt on just because there weren't any other crit items. I don't think there is a second crit necklace in the game. There's just this one. And then these are the only equipments that give you crit. This means that her defense is a bit lower because we focused on crit, which is whatever. I'm just going to kill the stuff before they kill me. Again, the highest you can give her. I like this spear because you want to focus on elemental attack. I mean, all her weapons I would focus on elemental attack because she's an elemental attacker over physical attack. But you also have stuff that's increasing her wind damage. So when she does her wind skills, they will just do more damage. And then I have on the mental belt, which is giving her elemental attack, elemental defense, and the protective bracelet, which is just giving her physical defense and elemental defense. Physical defense, elemental defense. This is giving her more elemental attack. Sadly, a lot of my elemental attack items are on the other team because they are specifically casters. So they usually have all the elemental attack stuff on them. And then the force field just to increase defense. Ophelia, of course, you want to focus on maximizing elemental defense. Because she's not a thief, if you decided to make her a thief, I would say go for max SP, because max SP is more important for thief. But since we're not going that, and she's just a raw healer, I just want to make sure she's healing for the max. So as much elemental defense as possible. You see pretty much anything that's giving her elemental defense, and then after that, anything that can give her elemental attack or SP is a good secondary. Of obviously the weapons, you want to focus on elemental attack. And then Alphen, he's support. I went kind of different for him. I went evasion. I want him to not get hit. So I maxed out his evasion because he is a dancer. You could go for speed if you want, but I just thought the evasion tank is a cooler idea. If he does get hit, he is a healer. Both of them have the ability to revive too, so you're usually not in too much danger unless you're doing like the endgame fights. And that's pretty much it. That's my teams. That being said, thanks for watching this video. I'm pretty much just doing this for myself, but if this helps anybody else out, hey, throw me a like, give me a comment down below, let me know this helps you out. That being said, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.